right, a meeting with John. We've been called out. John's the realtor, represents the customer. Who's the customer, John?
Dan Hellman.
My job today is to somehow turn a sow's ear into a silk purse. What we're doing with this project is we're going to try to transform it into something that will sell. Now, this is completely different than what we would be doing if we were going to do a landscape renovation for a customer that was going to move into it. Let's check out what we've got into. We've got a budget established. John, just to let you know, the customer has given us a budget of between $1,500 for his hopes and dreams, maximum of $2,500. Sometimes I have to be the bearer of bad news. It's not possible on this site. There's no way we can do what he wants to be done and to get this into a turnkey property that's going to have enough curb appeal that when people come up to it, they're going to look at it, see that it's clean, neat, and tidy, and leave enough space so that they can also fulfill their own dreams. That's a key element whenever you do one of these, is you've got to complete it to the point that the customer, the potential customer, can look at it and go, oh, I see the potential. There's a huge difference. I want to point out some of the things that we're not going to touch. We're not going to be touching the siding. This whole garage needs at least a heavy paint job. New siding would probably be the way to go. It's going to need a new roof. We got to take all these plants out. We're going to end up taking out this fence. We're going to end up taking out all these overgrown trees and bushes, and we have a nice crabapple tree that ideally I would love to keep, but it blocks my only way into this backyard. And the backyard, my friends, is a jungle. Let's go check this out. Come on with me, John. Let's walk and talk. Let's make sure that I'm on the right page together. So they share common area, okay? So we can't come through this way and we can't come through this way. It's just not enough space. We've got to be able to come in here with heavy equipment and literally do more removal than anything else. Because when you look at this backyard, it's a mess. Where am I going to start? I'm going to start by creating a backyard. Look at this. This is, I don't know, there's a wall here, a fabricated, looks like they've laid down rubber matting over dirt. Gone. It's out of there. Look at this deck. Do you even know there's a deck? It's buried underneath there. It's probably suffering dry rot because whoever owned this house before let all this vegetation grow up. All this vegetation is gone. Bare minimum amount of vegetation. We come in here, we've got trees that are on the property line, but when you look more closely, this tree is actually on this side of the fence line. It needs to go. Somebody has been doing a little bit of work out in this backyard, but look at what they've done. They just left the mess behind. They haven't bothered to take it away. We've got a fountain, if you can imagine, buried in the corner. That's got to go. All of this goes. We have a built-in fireplace. All of these little touches are great if you're going to live here, but when you're going to sell a home, they have to be removed because it's perfect for the homeowner, but it's not perfect when you're trying to sell a property. Am I right with this stuff, John? Shaking his head, yes.
Sorry.
He's the silent type. Now, one of the things that I need to touch base with on, which may be a little bit controversial, is you see this fence line? I can't remove the vegetation on that fence line without just basically removing the fence line because it's intertwined in there. I know property owners like to have a fence line. I know they like to establish their boundary lines, but in this case, it's too far gone. There's nothing I can do about this fence line without removing the chain link fence that's buried underneath as well. Let's walk to the front of the house. Let's keep this going. So you see this brick, I don't know what this is right here. I have no clue, a brick paver patio. It's actually shared between the two properties, and it's an eyesore. If they want to have a chance of selling this house, stuff like this needs to be gone. It needs to be just clean and tidy. It doesn't have to be overdone. I'm going to show you a property that he wanted his house to look like, so you know that you don't have to go that far. It's this property right there. Got a nice rock wall, nice flowers. Take the rock wall out, you don't need that, but you do need to have the nice flowers. As we look at the front of this property, look at the overgrown trees, look at the overgrown bushes and shrubs. You just remove them. The key element to this is opening up the house so people can actually see it, so that they can go, hey, you know what would look nice? I'd like to do this, or I want to add this. How many times have you walked into a house where somebody has redone it, but the new owners come in, they put new paint down, they put new carpet down, even though the paint and carpet were just redone because they want to add their own flavor. It's the same thing with landscaping. You've got to get it to the point where people can see the potential. And this house has potential. It's got good bones, got good structure, but you can't find it. And so we're going to do a cleanup job. But a cleanup job like this is probably going to cost around $4,000 to do it right. That's not a bill that he's going to like, but if he wants to sell this house, it's got to be done. The story just gets better on this site. So what we're going to do is when we remove these plants, we're actually going to leave the hostas. That way we don't have to purchase any plants, bring them in. Remember, we're selling it. This is not something that he's going to own himself anymore. We're just trying to get it out of his possession. We're going to leave these plants in the front, but we're going to yank these tall suckers. But look what I found. White landscape rock. Ooh, it's so beautiful. That dates the house by about 20 to 30 years. If they want to have a chance of selling this property, that's got to go. So I've got to pull all that up, and I've got to bring in a double shredded hardwood mulch, which softens the edges. It is also a long lasting. It's clean, it's easy, it's cheap. It gets it in, gets it done. And I'm going to end up doing that in this zone right here. So you see he's got a sidewalk that separates his front mulch bed or his front planting bed. Then there's a buried sidewalk in here. And then there's going to be nothing in here. It's just going to be mulch that looks clean. It looks tidy. If they want to do something, if they want to soften that edge up even more, they can put a potted plant in there. And why a potted plant? Because it's not permanent. You can put, if the house doesn't sell right away, you can put flowers in. As the seasons go, you can progress and change them to mums or whatever you want to do. But you can update it and you can remove it after the house finally sells. Okay, now I'm on the hunt for white rock. What I found buried underneath the grass clippings, this probably was a hayfield. Look at how they had this mowed. There's a bunch of hostas. So what we're going to do is we're going to take these, we're going to pull them out, and I found more white rock. We're going to eliminate that white rock, but we can replant the customer's own vegetation selectively, not in a jungle-like fashion like what we've got going on here. So we're going to remove this. We're going to also remove, look at this. I don't even get, what is this? What's the deal with this? What is this, a paver patio out in no man's land? And then we've got a bullet edging system. It just needs to go. Let's look at this deck. Let's see what we've got going on for this. This guy's got a lot of work cut out for him. He's got a 2x4 railing here. He's got posts here. I'm venturing up. If I hadn't demoed so many houses in my past, I'd probably be scared of this deck, but it looks sturdy enough. This whole thing needs to be redone. I'm not even going inside. Blown off. You can see the pine tree. Pine tree is not his. There's nothing he can do about it. But weed whip, lawnmower, guys with chains, cutting and removing the jungle, cleaning it up. It's going to make a huge difference for this guy. Everywhere I look, there's more white rock. There's even more right there. It's just ridiculous what they do out in these sites. Okay, so that's going to bump up his price a little bit more, but he's not going to sell this house unless we do it the right way. So his $1,500 ideal budget to $2,500 max. I'm not even going to try to touch it for that. There's no sense in it. Let somebody else come in here and lose his tail. My budget number is going to be $4,000 to $4,500, depending on how much white rock we discover. We have to pull out, but that's what's going to get this property. So when John over here puts the for sale sign in the front yard, he's going to have a line of people putting offers down on it. If they don't do that, it's just going to sit and deteriorate on the market and go down. That's it. I'm out.